welcome back to my channel. I'm going to do a video today about another tissue box folio, following the chasing paper tutorials on YouTube. I've done two videos on these previous ones, which are these are the tall ones, which are made from this sort of tissue box, and so I've got a floral one and a more grungy one, and I've got videos on those. And today I'm going to do this video about this one, which is made from this sort of tissue box. And it's quite interesting because I don't know what country the lady comes from who does the video, but when I did these rectangular ones, I followed her measurements exactly, and then I realised that her tissue boxes were not quite the same, and so doesn't kind of come into the middle as it should do. So I learnt that even if the boxes look superficially the same, they may not be. And it was actually quite interesting because these are Kleenex boxes, and I bought a whole pack of 12 of these so that I'd have plenty to play with. She used Scotties. Now I'm going to see if I can get Scotties next time, because I don't know whether you can see that there, where these flaps are. I'll stick some paper under there, you can see it a bit better. It's like a diagonal and then a square across. Hers were much more rounded, and she got a different result from that. And the other difference was that when you unfold the box, with these, the window is in landscape format, but in hers they came out in portrait format. Now I actually prefer that, because I think most pictures that are suitable for this sort of thing are in portrait format rather than landscape. But I'm going to work with what I've got, and of course when you look at pictures of boxes of tissues, or if you look at them in the shop, you don't actually know how they're perhaps going to unfold into what you want until you start doing it. But you know, I mean, it is what it is, and we just work with what we've got. So that's the tissue boxes, and the first step in the process is to, this is the other one that I've started making. Like the last time, I started both projects concurrently and then concentrated on one, and I think that's probably the better way to go, because you soon find out things that you want to do differently as you work through the tutorial, and you might not want to do it exactly as she did it. And this was definitely a case in point with this. So you can see I've covered that, and I've stuck the acetate onto the window. Now she'd got this really clever way of closing the box, which on this one I've just got the one string, and it comes out of that hole at the bottom there, so it doesn't go across the window. But she had the other string coming out of the top, and you were supposed to wrap one string around the closure in the middle, and then the other one. And it struck me that this could be really confusing, especially if you give it to somebody and they don't know what's what. If you start trying to unwind the wrong one first, you can actually get it done up more. It can get really tangled up. So I didn't think that was really very practical, although it looked very nice. I thought this was better just to have a single closure, and it works perfectly well. You just tuck it round the embellishment, and that works absolutely fine. So that's what I've done. But then of course before I got to that stage, I'd already done this, which is what she says to do. You put the one string through that, you make a hole and make the string come through, and then you stick this down and you put paper over the top, and then you've got this, and this acts as the bottom, it ends up as the, oh, I don't know, I get confused whether it's the top or the bottom closure, but you end up with two. So what I did with this one, I realised I was just going to have a short string and put some beads on it, but as I was working on it, I realised that when I put this on, which was an afterthought, I could actually make a loop rather than just a long string with beads on it, so you could hang it up if you wanted to, but it's quite fun to have the little loop on it. So that was a difference that I made with that. And this one is like the first time. I'm going to make this one more grungy, and this one is a present for somebody, so I thought I'd make a pretty floral one for her. The other thing about this method was that you get this ridge here of the twine that goes through, and so with this one I stuck pieces of card either side of there to try and level it up, because when you put the lining paper on you can see this line, and I really didn't like that very much. And but even with the cards lined up against it either side, glued down and just chamfered off with a sander, it still showed this ridge in the middle, so I wouldn't do that again. I may actually take this off and reconstruct it before I go any further with that. I haven't really made any plans about that one yet. So that's the sort of preamble really to that. So that's that. I've shown you now how that closure works. You just tuck it round the embellishment and it just stays in place, and I've used some jute twine and just frayed it into a little tassel at the end, and I've put some beads on the end. This is a cluster that I made some time ago. I made a whole lot of sort of pre-makes, you know, that to store to use when I wanted to. And this paper, I'll just reach for this. I didn't get this out. Hang on a minute. I can find it. I'm not sure where it is now. Oh, I think it must be out somewhere. I can't see it. The studio is an absolute tip. I can't find anything just now. Well, I may have to show you later if I can find it. I'm not really quite sure what I've done with my box of strips. It seems to have disappeared for the moment. Yes, I did want to show you that because I've got my washes in there as well that I've made. I don't know where I've put that. But anyway, I'll see if I can find it. We'll carry on for now. So these folios, like these ones, don't really have a distinct front and back. Either would do. That looks like the back, but it actually opens up and it's sort of like the front. But that's more decorative, so, you know, I mean, you could say the same about this. And again, you've got this pocket in there with a tag inside, like on the previous one. And when you pull that out, there's a background paper inside. Sorry about the reflections, but that's the acetate reflecting the light, the lamp. I made these a long time ago. These were some of Penny Duncan's cut files for doing on the cutting machine. These little I don't know what's the matter with my memory this morning. I can't think what they're called. Those little flowers anyway, I made with the cutting machine and then hand embossed them and inked them. I've still got quite a few of those in my stash. I thought I'd use those, and I'd put some black lace on there. So that's the little tag that goes in there. But as before, I've made it reversible, so you can put it back like that. And you get a different picture, so you've got the choice of which you want. This was cut from a greetings card. It's rather shiny, but it doesn't really matter for this. But anyway, that was cut from a greetings card I had. And this is some scrapbook paper. These tabs. I made a whole lot again, and I've got a lot in my stash. I just used one of those. This is a fussy cut from a book, an old book of British wildflowers and things, and these are the fussy cuts that I've done. There's quite a selection in there to choose from. I've separated them all out, so I've got some with mushrooms, some with butterflies, all that kind of thing. So that was one of those, and I've used quite a few in this project, actually, so I'll put that one back. I don't think there's anything else to say about the outside, but you can see how this works. There's the window at the front, and then that that goes like, you fold that down like that, but you put those in first. So you've got these flaps there, and then you put that down, and then you wrap these around the closure, and that keeps everything closed. So that's how it's constructed. It's a little bit complicated. Right, so that's the outside. So if we lift up the flap, you can see there's one of my fussy cuts on there. This is some gorgeous new scrapbook paper that I got from the Range, which is a big shop in the UK. It's got a very good art department, and they have lovely papers, and they're really inexpensive. So I lined it with that, and then I've put lots of these little fussy cuts inside, and when we open up the flaps, you've got that. Now, as I mentioned before, when she used her tissue box, these flaps were different. They were more parallel with this, and then they were curved around like that. But when you fold these up, you can see that there's quite a gap at the bottom, and I thought, oh no, that's going to show this pretty paper, but we're going to put pockets in anyway, so I was careful to use the same paper for the pocket as I'd used for the outside, so that it's kind of continuous there, if you see what I mean. Wish I could find my paper strips. I really want to show you about that. Now, what have I done with that box? Oh dear. I can see where it should be, and it ain't there. Not it. Oh dear. Just hang on a minute. I'm going to see if I can find it, because I really want to get that out. Oh, sorry about that. I had to stop the video. It was where it was supposed to be, but it got tipped up, tucked to the bottom of to the back of the shelf. So that's really annoying. Yes. Now, ages ago, I've got a whole lot of paper, thin card strips that I was given by somebody that worked in some paper place, and they're all different colours, sort of like pale colours, and I decided I'd start using them, so I've got this box of all my paper strips, and recently I did this, I've done it on Instagram, and it's on my blog. I made all these washi tape strips, and I followed somebody's tutorial on how to make these really cool storage things out of these page protectors, and they just all stay in there, and it's just brilliant. And all these paper strips that I've had for ages, and I had to rummage in this box. I haven't finished doing it yet. That was some washi that I made from wrapping paper. But anyway, and those are, this is a bit of a digression. These are some faux washes that I made. I put double-sided tape on the back of those. These are all strips torn from inked paper towels that I'd used for mopping up. So I used those for art. But you see, that's a bit more of that. I made all these strips, you know, from those cardboard strips, and I decorated them all in different ways, and I can use them, you know, in different projects, and they're really fun. Really enjoyed that. So I chose this one because when I was rummaging through, seeing what I could use, I thought, oh, that would be really cool on the front. So I put it on the front there, and on there, so that it looks as if it's continuous through, and that's when I realised I could turn that into a loop, because I could stick the other end in underneath there. So that was about that. So I really wanted to show you that, because the washes that I made, I'm really pleased. I did this on, I recently went on to Linux on my computer from Windows, and my old photo editor wouldn't work because it was too old, and so I eventually found this photo editing and graphics program called Critter, and they've got this instructions how to make repeating patterns and how to design stripes and things. So I did sheets of A4 with diagonal stripes on it, and then cut them into 1/2 inch widths. And I ordered some. This is actually washi paper from Japan, which I printed on, and it's come out really well, and I used some of that in this project, so I'm glad I found that box, because I wanted to show you that. I'll get rid of that for now. This place is so untidy, I'm not surprised I can't find anything. Yes, so that was that strip there, and I put some of the pink washi stripy washi that I made as well, which we'll see in due course. So that's how those flaps work. And then you make these pockets. And again, I've used that paper continuously so that it doesn't make a gap at the bottom there. And I put some black lace across there, and I really think this is very pretty paper. And there's yellow in it, so I picked up the yellow and bits of pink and purple and things like that. This fussy cut was a big one, so I did it so that if I take that out, you can see that's what it was. But I cut it in the middle so that it's continuous, but then you can put that in. So if I take all these little tags out, you can see what it's like. There we go. That's the back of that. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yes, I think I backed that onto some cream yellowy coloured card because it's a bit flimsy and I thought it was going to get damaged at the edge. Yeah, so I made those pockets, and that's where the pocket is on the front. So that's how that works. And then I made these little tags and bits of ephemera. A lot of these tags, I've got a box of small tags, but a lot of them are clothing tags, and you see there's some printing on there, but I've inked over it, and it just adds texture really. And I've sanded it a bit to age it, and stuck a little ticket on there. And on the back, same thing. That's a bit of that kitchen paper that I inked. And it's got a really nice texture to it as well, and bits of fussy cuts on there, and little labels and things, so that those ones go in there. And if you wanted to, you could put a little notebook or something in there, or you could leave them on the back if you wanted to do like journaling or something. That's some more of that kitchen paper again. There's a bit of my pink stripe washi. You see it's translucent, so it's really nice. And there's another of those strips that I did from the coloured card strips and decorated them. And that one, this is a background. Well, it's actually a scene from a collection of Japanese designs, but I've used it just as an abstract because I really like the colours. And those are some rub-ons from Paperology which I put on, and that's just a scrap from I think it's one of these scrapbooking paper ones that I use for the other. Yeah, that was it. That's the paper that I used in the grungy tissue box folder from the big tissue boxes. So I just tore a bit of that off. And again, bits of black lace to pick up that theme. That was a clothing tag, and I just thought this was so nice, this pattern on here. I'll just leave it as is, and I just put a scrap of the same background paper on there. Just little things to tuck in really. And that paper, that shiny stuff, I didn't really like it very much. I've got quite a bit of that. I used that in the Floral tissue box folder from the big tissue box, and so I've got some of that, and just there's some more of the pink washi. Just put some collage on there. And this was a clothing tag again, and it's just so lovely. It's got this sort of jungle scene and the toucan on there, and I thought that was worth just leaving as it is because it's quite fun. You could put it in either way. And that's a little label that I fussy cut and did some stenciling on the back. Put that one in that one. Again, little label there. And that's it really. They're less complicated than the larger tissue box ones. So I think it's really quite clever that you've got this pocket on the front with the window, and then you can put a fancy closure on the back, or you could just do the normal brad closure that I did on these ones. You could just do that if you wanted. But and then I put this little charm on there because there was already an eyelet on there from when I made that, and that little charm that says handmade with love, which I usually put on things that I'm giving away as gifts. So that just goes round like that, and there we are. So that's so far my 3 tissue box folios, and I'm going to make another like that. And then as I finish the tissues, and I haven't had to pray for a cold, thank goodness, because I just put tissues everywhere and just use them and empty the boxes. So eventually I'm going to do some different things with those square tissue boxes and make some accordion fold things and make a series of little houses, all sorts of ideas I've got for that. So there's a lot of potential with these, and the lady who's done this on Chasing Paper, I've just started watching a video that she made about making these gorgeous little booklets out of the cardboard centre kitchen roll. And they're just stunning. I've got to do that. I definitely have. She's really worth following. She's brilliant. So anyway, that's it. I think that's all I need to say about that. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing that. And I'll do another video about the second one when I've done it. Okay, so bye-bye for now. And thanks very much for watching.